Yes, Grenada, a very good morning to you. Thursday morning under sunny skies here on the Spice Isle. I'm George Grant. Welcome to today's edition of Good Day, Grenada. Yeah, gonna be a good program. You know Thursdays, huh? Huh? You know what to expect. We're gonna shift things around a little bit this morning. The rundown is gonna be a little bit different. Just so that we are able to accommodate the man, Daman. Yeah, you'll find out a bit more about that as I read to you this morning the rundown. We're going to begin with the tug of war that's taking place between the United States and Cuba. Yeah, man. I had some story yesterday about the fact that the Cuban people have now voted in favor of their new constitution. Well, apparently, the U.S. ain't too happy about that. The next story is some good news for Grenada. USA Today's Top 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards. Remember, over the past couple of weeks, they've been asking you to vote, 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 vote as many times as you can. Well, the results are in, and we're going to share those with you this morning. And then, bam, ding, 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 ding. Indies spanked, battered, thwacked, walloped. You know what I'm talking about, eh? Yeah. I'm going to get into that a little bit more in just a wee bit. Then AB's Thursday morning visit. Yeah, he's going to be with us this morning and probably a little bit earlier than usual. And that's why we're not going to run the national report until the very end of this morning's program. So, having said that, let's get down to brass tacks. I see you folks are already out there this morning on social media. Now, to the tug of war between the United States and Cuba. Yesterday, I told you that the Cuban government was proudly boasting that the Cuban people had overwhelmingly voted in favor of a new constitution. According to the release, which was sent to me by the Cuban embassy, and which I shared with you yesterday, 73.3% of all eligible citizens voted in favor of the new constitution. Well, the U.S. government has questioned the results of that referendum. And obviously, that has sparked a rebuttal from the Cuban Foreign Ministry. And so, yesterday, I received another release from the Cuban embassy. This one is captioned, Cuban Foreign Ministry strongly rejects disrespectful interference by U.S. State Department. Okay. What's that all about? Let me share it with you. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Cuba strongly rejects the disrespectful statement issued by the U.S. State Department attributed to Secretary of State Michael Pompeo, which intends to question the constitutional referendum that was freely and sovereignly held by all Cubans on February 24th last. The text of the statement is an expression of the imperialist ideas which are deeply rooted in the foreign policy of the current U.S. administration. It is also a reflection of the already announced desire to impose, once again in the Western Hemisphere, the Monroe Doctrine, accompanied now by some McCarthyist intolerance. The Cuban people spoke loud and clear this February 24th. They did it with overwhelming eloquence. Though their vote, or through their vote, they freely pledged their commitment to the construction of socialism, and they did so by expressing their will in a massive way, despite the pernicious campaign launched by the United States, which was intended to influence their vote. It's been long since we Cubans decided to frustrate every U.S. attempt to govern our country's destiny. The U.S. State Department should put an end to the practice of interfering in the internal affairs of other states and the electoral or voting processes of other nations. This is a weird habit that is contrary to international law, with which the U.S. government defies the norms that govern relations among sovereign states. That was the text of a release from the Cuban embassy yesterday, verbatim. All right? And so the struggle goes on. Now, very quickly here, Benedict Cador is saying good morning, and Margaret is saying have a good day. Good morning to you guys. T.F. Richard says good morning, family. It's yet another wonderful day in God's world. Our weather may be different, but we have the breath of life. Yaman. Amen. And Peter Bishop's in Long Island this morning. Those are the folks out there so far on social media. Now, here's how Grenada stacked up in that competition, I guess you might call it. They were asking people to vote for the best this and best that and best the other as far as the tourism industry is concerned. Grenada finished number 2 in the best Caribbean island for romance category. Lovebirds out there, you thinking about getting away from your industrialized country for a week or two or whatever, come on down to Grenada, man. Have a little romance. Congratulations, Grenada, on that one. As far as beach bars are concerned, umbrellas, on Grand Anse Beach was rated number 6 for a cool place to hang out. Boy, that place is so fun. Every time I've been down there, I've had to wait because there are always so many people on that property. Real nice location on the beach, and I have been impressed with the service. It's been pretty good, and the food's not too bad either. Clark's Court and River Antoine Rum Distillery were rated numbers 6 and 8, respectively, in the Best Rum Factories category. And the world's first underwater sculpture park was rated number 8. Yeah, that's up at Molinaire Underwater Park. For those of you who have not been to see that, it's really a really interesting sight. But I did not know that it was the world's first underwater sculpture park. Well, internationally, they came in 8th. And the Bianca Sea, the dive wreck out there, that site was rated as number 4 in the Caribbean. Yeah, I am not a certified diver, so I have never been down to that site. I think she sits at about 90 feet of water, I think. Yeah. But maybe one of these days I'll get certified, go take a look. Very, very popular site. And finally, Spice Island Beach Resort was ranked number 7 in the Caribbean. Yes, sirree. Another Grand Anse site. So, congratulations to all you winners. Yeah, congratulations. Now, West Indies versus England. the one day series. This morning I was taking a look at a website, cricketinfo.com. Oh, by the way, hold on a minute. I forgot one thing here. There's also another winner, BB's Crabback. I don't remember where they finished. I think it might have been 8th. BB's Crabback. They were also a winner in that USA survey. Getting back to West Indies, England. Taking a look at Cricket Info, the website, this morning. The headline reads, I like this. The headline reads, Indies spanked, battered, thwacked, walloped. Yeah, that was the headline this morning. But I'll tell you what, despite that, and I know a lot of Grenadians are disappointed about the outcome of the match, but I'll tell you something. Local fans got their money's worth, not only from the party environment, which was evident not only yesterday, but even on the rain-out day, Monday. But yesterday, they got to watch a new world record being set. Yeah, it's a lot of action, folks. In local parlance, a lot of whooping, if you will. A week after the West Indies posted a new world record of 23 sixes in the first ODI against England, the two sides combined for an incredible onslaught while here in Grenada. A match record 46 sixes were hit yesterday. Count them, 46 sixes, all told. England had just a little bit more. They got 24, which, by the way, was a new mark for England. So yeah, that's what I meant when I said that there was a lot of action down at the park yesterday afternoon. Excuse me, the National Stadium. All righty, folks. Let me see here. Back to social media. John out there in parish number 7 is saying howdy to you folks. Lincoln Roberts is saying thank God for waking us up. Give thanks and much love to all. Yaman. Lydia James is saying good morning, George and Grenada. And Margaret says, there we go again. Food. Margaret always has something to say. Margaret says ditto on umbrellas. Their chicken wings are awesome. Yeah, not one of my favorites. Chicken wings, not one of my chicken. Chicken breasts, yes, you're talking my language. Give me the chicken boobies. I don't want any wings, okay? Anyhow, tell you what, let's take our first little break. Now, what we're doing this morning, we're going to put Alan, would you believe that? We're going to put Alan ahead of the national report this morning. And to tell you the honest truth, I don't believe you guys have any problem with that. Even as I speak to you, he's holding up his watch because he sent me a little note saying, are we on for 9:15? I said, yeah. Well, guess what? It's 9:14, but I still have to take a little break here, and then we'll get him in right after that.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. and we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
I'm going to put him up on the screen a little bit early. There he is. Mr. B, just give me a couple seconds more here. T.F. Richard says, we may have been beaten, but the words used in that headline are out of place and utter nonsense. So says T.F. Margaret is not too sympathetic. Margaret says, that is what you get when you take the life out of cricket. The drums, the conch shell, and the local food is the life of we cricket. They take their soul out of West Indies. They take the soul out of West Indies. Yeah, Margs. Okay. All right. Then Donna Joseph is saying good morning to you guys. And Margaret, about Alan coming before, about Alan coming before the, what is it, the GIS, the National Report. Margaret says, you mean dessert coming first? Yes. And then Donna says, yes, George, I don't have a problem. The National Report can wait. Bring on Mr. B. Let me tell you, this morning, I'm sitting here looking at this guy. His hair looks so straight this morning. I don't know if he blew dry it or what, but his hair straight and flat. Must have gotten a haircut or something. We'll find out. T.F. Richard says, it's about time that something or someone with sense is put before the NNP. Maybe for once, the NNP report may be worth the while. So George is using Mr. B as a starter or appetizer. Okay, TF. He's listening to you, by the way. And Jennifer Myers says, good morning to you, George. Good morning, everyone. Congratulations are in order for the Spice Island Beach Resort. Number 7 next year. Number 1. And Bernard is saying good morning to everyone. Now, let's say good morning to Mr. Bashinsky. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are thou?
I'm well. In answer to your first question, yes, I just had a haircut. The reason is that I have to wait until I get my NIS pension. Then I go and get a haircut. Once a month.
Once a month?
No.
I'm going to get mine today, actually. So tomorrow you guys will, I'll try to look, well, I will never be able to look like Mr. B.
No, with regard to the headlines in the British popular press, those headlines are typical of let's call it popular press. I don't want to denigrate it further. But yes, they are entitled to put anything they want in their newspapers. The point is that you can't take popular press seriously. The more serious newspapers, the more serious publications, clearly are more objective. Now, with regard to Margaret saying the soul being taken out of it, well, I was very fortunate to be sitting next to a very generous lady who managed to bring a pot of pilau into her seating area. And she came with plastic plates, not styrofoam, mind you, plastic plates and knives and forks. And to our great surprise, after she shared the pilau with the people around her, she then produced some coconut bun. So we had dessert as well. Now, this is the kind of person you want to end up with in cricket. So we had a fine time. With regard to musical entertainment, I am very pleased that there did not appear to be the usual loud DJ music, which is, I mean, a feature, I believe, of Antigua and perhaps St. Lucia. But what we had was a steel band and a rhythm section, and they moved to different areas of the stadium, and we were royally entertained. Rhythm, when telling you, if you hear iron, and that was a lot of fun.
So the people had a
So
good time.
yeah, that group was fronted by some dancers in the sort of, well, I suppose it passes for national dress, but anyway, they were very energetic also, and I thought it was great fun, particularly the fact that you could see why you had people on the field playing cricket, and some, I believe I was told, some 7,000 spectators, because those spectators can't catch. The number of drop catches in the crowd was amazing. I am not sure that any of the sixes that were hit were caught in the crowd. And I mean, some real simple catches. Well, none of them were close to me, so they look simple, but they were dropped.
Yeah.
But for me, there were some highlights. One was being in the stadium when the video screen came up announcing that Chris Gayle had passed 10,000 runs in one-day internationals. And a little later, when he had struck his 300th six in one-day internationals. I thought what hasn't got much coverage locally is that one of the more entertaining knocks was with Morgan and Butler, I believe. They were racing each other to the 100 mark. And in fact, I think it was Butler was behind Morgan when he came in and overhauled him when they were both on about 92 or 93, and managed to get to his century, I think maybe one ball before Morgan did. That was very entertaining. I don't know that I've ever seen or heard of a competition like that, with the two batsmen each trying to outdo each other to get to the century first.
Okay.
I thought that was very good. And I thought it was a fantastic match, particularly when it did seem that there was a faint possibility of getting the last 29 runs and then batsman number 7, 8, and 9, I think all of them out in the same over.
I think wasn't it 4 wickets they lost for 0 runs or something like that?
I think 3 of them in successive balls, perhaps.
Really?
So that was a bit of a downer, but certainly not for the British.
Yeah, that was a crash.
All in all, they're very, very entertaining. As some of the people who know about cricket said, to go on a run chase with a target like that, and you still manage to get 389, they did extremely well. But you have to say that I have 2 comments on Gayle. That 29 runs defeat is perhaps the difference between him getting out at 162 and not going on to double century. So that is what might have been. And the other one is that, unlike some of the whoopers, as you mentioned earlier, when Gayle was on 99, he brought up his century with a single. He didn't look to whoop.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know that is a feeling that some batsmen have. They want to score or reach the
Yeah.
mark, you know, with a
Yeah. Yeah.
flourish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, all in all, it was great fun.
Did I
So
hear you mention, AB, that there were about 7,000 people down there yesterday?
I heard some information to the effect that 7,000 tickets were recorded because you know it's electronic as they go through the gate. So, but I just heard that in passing sometime yesterday about West Indies cricket information or whatever.
Well, that would have been a very impressive number, don't you think?
It is, what is it? Just under half the capacity of the stadium.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So you have to take it in context, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you do.
But nevertheless, it was a very good event.
Did you also make it down there on Monday?
No, I was looking at the weather report. You know, I'm an amateur Met officer.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you, like I said, I imagine some people are disappointed about not pulling off the victory, but a good time was had by all. And you know what? With the current state of things in Grenada, I think that in itself was good for Grenada. Even though only about 7,000 people, many of which I'm assuming would have been visitors to the island. Did you?
So,
Go ahead.
no. You finish because I want to go on to something else.
Okay. Did you go down to the Carnage a couple of nights ago?
Of course not.
Of course not. Okay. All right. just before you go on to something else, let me pay a quick visit here to Facebook. Margaret said a little while ago you were talking about the lady near to you who had all the goodies. You know, once you mention goodies, Margaret's eyes light up, eh? And she's saying here, now that is what I'm talking about. More power to that sister.
Indeed.
Indeed.
And I will also say that for those people who in the last 30 years or so have designated oil dung as our national dish, let me tell you, it's a lot easier to eat pilau when you go to an event in the stadium.
She also goes on to say, now Alan's report is how to convey the sense and atmosphere at a cricket match. Reminded me of Leslie Horsemouth Sean. Do you remember Leslie Sean?
Indeed.
Yeah. And she
And because he was trained in broadcasting, he brought a certain level of professionalism to the whole idea of the Windward Islands Broadcasting Service, which regrettably, the successor to WIBS, which rejoices in the name of the Grenada Broadcasting Network, they cannot. No, I think their problem is that they don't even try to aim high.
Yeah, I hear you. Lydia James says, what about those who climb the gate? You forgot to count them. Lydia, were you one of those people who climbed the gate? Huh? Were you? John says, John is out there in Carriacou. He says, Rashid, 4 wickets in 1 over.
Yeah.
4 wickets. I mean,
this is when, as they say in cricket, the tail did not wag.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I could imagine the feeling among the patrons down there. You know, up until that point, they may have been hopeful. Okay.
There was a slight chance.
There was a slight chance. Okay, slight chance of showers, scattered showers. But then to see 4 wickets go in an over, Alan, I bet there were a lot of wet diapers down there yesterday. Huh?
Well, I don't know. I guess by that time everyone had been thoroughly entertained.
Yeah. T.F. Richards says, well, at least Grenada is taking the lead in bringing back the soul into West Indies cricket.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Kipling Francis says, "Good morning, all. God's blessings to all. On my way for my first prostate cancer treatment." Well, Kipling, I certainly hope that everything goes well. And Veronica Sandy is saying good morning to everybody, and she's sorry that she's a bit late. Listen, Alan, you were about to say something a little while ago when I rudely interrupted. Shoot.
Yeah, just in parting, for those who are minded to do so, I saw something on Caribbean 360 Now, or whatever it's called, that news site.
Yeah.
Regarding some difficulty that the Guyana Minister of Labor is having with a Russian company which is mining. This is an aluminium company. Nothing to do with oil exploration, by the way. This is a mining company. Apparently, they dismissed 61 workers who had been on strike. And they are resolute in their position, which is not shared by the Guyana government. And I just thought it interesting that I don't know why they have to bring in a Russian company where their background would not suggest that they are familiar with the rights of workers or our labor legislation in CARICOM. So there are red flags to be raised when you get into arrangements with companies and entities which come from a tradition of not observing human rights and democratic norms that we are accustomed to. Mm-hmm. But then, as you know, we have a saying here, you can't bite the hand that's feeding you.
Yes, a saying which Grenadians won't forget for a long time. Okay.
And finally,
no.
Because
hold on a minute. Finally, as far as you're concerned, I got you on early. You don't gonna take off that early. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And next,
right.
Then, because of, and I mentioned CARICOM, and because CARICOM is firmly committed to the principle of non-intervention, and in the old days it used to be non-alignment, and the observance of the principles of self-determination. I am in the lead up to the 3 months of celebrations for the observance of the coup d'etat on March 13, 1979. I have been reacquainting myself with Teddy Victor's book called Deception on Conception. And on page 121, Teddy writes, in the New Jewel, volume number 1, number 49 of February 1974, the NJM proposal to Caribbean governments was published. The communique was signed by Whiteman and Bishop as joint coordinating secretaries and was asking Caribbean governments to intervene in Grenada to avert a possible civil war. This was in February of 1974. The communique read, Caribbean governments have been, in our view, deliberately ducking their responsibility to bring pressure to bear on Mr. Gary to respect the rule of law and the basic principles of human rights and civilized conduct. We therefore strongly urge the heads of government of CARICOM to take immediate steps to bring the greatest possible pressure to bear on Mr. Gary to agree to CARICOM taking control for a period of 3 to 6 months of the police and other protective services and the Director of Public Prosecutions in order to respond through the due process of law to the extremely serious charges laid by the entire opposition, including the churches and the legal profession, of police brutality, the maladministration of justice, and the personal involvement of Premier Gary himself in the process.
Aye, aye, aye.
Signed by Bishop and Whiteman. I tell you, Well, how do these various sayings go? Time longer than twine, and
Twine. Yeah.
one day you go see Ant's belly, and one day Congo take.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So it is interesting to see the position of CARICOM now with regard to the Bolivarian Republic.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking about the Bolivarian Republic, I received a call yesterday. You know that on Sunday we were talking about the Venezuelan situation. And yesterday I received a call from the Venezuelan embassy. I have not met the ambassador, but the person who was calling on behalf, said that he listens to my Sunday program all the time. He's very impressed and he likes it and all this, and wondered whether or not I would be willing to facilitate him on my program this weekend. So I gladly. I mean, I didn't even have to blink an eye. I want to hear all sides of the story. So I'm just giving you a heads up, Mr. B, that on Sunday you'd better be prepared to have some questions for the ambassador. Okay?
I have no questions for him. He is a diplomat who is representing the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and he is entitled to disseminate their position. I thought their position was fairly disseminated by Dr. Marisho.
Yeah. With your brother. What a session. What a session that was. Oh man,
But I'm pleased to hear that they listen to your program, because in my previous interactions with His Excellency, I wasn't aware that he spoke English.
Well, that's interesting because the lady who called, she also wanted to know if I had any objection to him bringing a translator. So you're confirming for me now that there may be a language issue between the two of us.
No, I think it's a matter of principle. As a Bolivarian, he will not speak English, the language of imperialism.
I don't know what the reason, but I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to meeting this man. I have known several former Venezuelan ambassadors.
His Excellency Jorge Guerrero.
Okay. Nice man?
I have no personal relationship, but I can say that on a visit to the embassy, I was taken aback by the large map of Guyana, which showed 1/3 as belonging to Venezuela.
Ah. Okay. Okay. Don't know if he's going to bring that.
Of course, there are people, and I've heard people argue that Venezuela is entitled to 1/3 of Guyana because the British established the western border of Guyana, and Venezuela doesn't recognize these British colonialist adventures.
Okay. All right. Mr. B, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but T.F. Richard says, I also read what Mr. B was speaking about in terms of Guyana. I agree with your sentiments, but at least we see that the government is not pleased and are taking them to task. Unlike us, you, as you said, cannot bite the hand that feeds us.
Yep, and that is on the Hansard parliamentary record.
And
frightening, isn't it?
Go on.
I said frightening, isn't it?
Yeah. Benedict Cadors. Benedict says, George, don't worry. Morris Bishop used to have about 20 finalees. And in conclusion, when you were singing.
Please, my friend, don't compare me with Morris. I don't want to end up dead.
Finally, B, I guess you heard what I read earlier on this morning from the Cuban embassy. Apparently, the the U.S. was not. They're not going to legitimize the referendum that took place in Cuba this week over the Constitution. Now, I know you're a man who have your eyes wide open on international affairs. What say you about that?
Well, I didn't hear it, but I have no understanding of what the U.S. government could have to say about a referendum in
Well,
Cuba.
apparently they're questioning the results of the referendum, where I think about
Well,
73% of the people.
that I question the approach of the Republican administration to Cuba, because under the previous Democratic administration, it is clear that there was progress being made towards improving the relationship between the countries, which only makes sense. The reality is that the Republican Party is beholden to the second generation of the Cuban exile community in Florida because of the number of votes in the Electoral College that Florida has. And clearly, this backward step led by Marco Rubio. I mean, these people are frankly, in my opinion, are frankly a disgrace to the concept of government and representation of the people.
All right. Yeah. Okay, Mr. B, I'm going to let you go on that note. Thank you very much, sir.
Have a good day.
Appreciate
Bye
it.
now.
All right. Yes, Mr. Alan Bashinsky there didn't fail to deliver again this morning, eh? Yeah. Okay, pilgrims. I know that you have been so disappointed that we pushed the NIS, not NI, the GIS report, the national report. We pushed it back to the end. But I wanted to make sure that I got Alan in. I know he has to take off a little bit early this morning, okay? So, right now, we're going to take another little break here, and we shall come on back.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Redleg, energizing our Grenada.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandans, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Government fulfills promise to honor Devon Smith for his contribution to cricket. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for today, Wednesday, February 27th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The Grenada government has fulfilled its promise to unveil a pavilion at the National Cricket Stadium in honor of left-handed batsman Devon Smith. It was renamed the Devon Smith Players Pavilion at an unveiling ceremony which took place during the 4th One-Day International between West Indies and England at the National Cricket Stadium on Wednesday. A plaque was presented to Smith by Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, who has just returned from the 30th CARICOM Intersessional Meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Mitchell, an avid cricketer, said they were taking special responsibility to honour those who have made a sterling contribution to cricket and called on his regional colleagues to follow suit.
I don't believe that the Caribbean has treated its past players sufficiently and honor them after they have given us so much service. So from one part of the Caribbean to the other, I hope this message is ringing loud and clear that we have to treat our players better than we have done in the past. It is in this context, therefore, I take this special responsibility, together with the Minister of Sports, to honor those distinguished sons. And therefore now, I'd like all Grenadians, Caricunians, Peter Martinicans, and the entire Caribbean to recognize the tremendous contribution of Junior Murray. Junior Murray from River Road, close to here, right? Royal Lewis from St. Andrews, and Devon Smith from St. Patrick's. I would want to ask all of you, give a good roar to all your sons for their contribution to this beautiful country of ours.
Smith, who flew out of Grenada immediately following the unveiling ceremony, was recognized for his outstanding performance on the field of play and for his overall contribution to the development of cricket in Grenada, the Windward Islands and the West Indies. Plaques were also presented to leg spin bowler and manager of Cricket West Indies Royal Lewis, as well as right-handed batsman Junior Murray, both of whom were already recognized with the renaming of the western stand of the National Cricket Stadium as the Junior Murray and Royal Lewis stand. Lewis is happy that their contributions have been recognized.
It's all about cricket. For me, it doesn't matter when it comes. For the people of Grenada, government and people of Grenada to recognize my contribution to cricket, I feel very proud about that, and I'll continue to work in that area, to assist in the next person that's coming to get their name on the stand as well. Devon Smith, I think his contribution to cricket, is second to none. So this came as no surprise, and I'm very, very happy for Devon to, I think he has now 37 first-class hundreds. That's not something easy to achieve. I probably have about 3 or 4, so what he got today is of no surprise, and the government and people of Grenada must be commended.
Sports Minister Senator Norland Cox says his government is only too happy to honor those who have made a significant contribution, not just to cricket, but other sporting disciplines.
We know Junior is our first Grenadian who represented Grenada and West Indies cricket team. That is significant, and every opportunity that we get to recognize his contribution to the game, we always do it. We have Raul, who is the manager now for West Indies cricket team. I think this is superb. He's doing an excellent job. We've been working with him for the past couple of months, and he has been outstanding. And of course, Devon, who has been outstanding at this level in the game. We'll take this opportunity to recognize him here today during this game, the biggest, at the international stage, to ensure that we give them the prominence. And we do that not only just for cricketers, but also for all our athletes. And so we are excited about that, and we believe that initiatives like this to recognize person for the contribution is important, and that will help also motivate our young cricketers who are on the field today during the break, kitty cricket. So we're wonderful. It's a wonderful day, and we are happy to be doing this as a ministry, as a government.
CARICOM leaders meeting in St. Kitts for the 30th intersessional meeting have again taken issue with what they call the cruel and unusual punishment by the European Union for labeling their countries as non-cooperative tax jurisdictions. CARICOM Chairman and Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Timothy Harris, says the EU and its member states are going well beyond the regulations and requirements of the OECD, of which they are a part and with which our countries are largely compliant. He's concerned that the selective application of their tax do not apply to everyone and has a distinct bias.
These unbridled attacks on our sovereignty and disturbing intrusion in our internal affairs hark back to a different era of us having to heed the dictates of our colonial masters who impose mercantile laws that restricted our development scope and space. The question that must be asked is this: why are the revenue earning measures of small states within the Caribbean community and elsewhere being deliberately targeted? The EU preferences for sugar and bananas have long gone. Our financial services are under consistent threat. The denial of correspondent banking services affects our tourism sector and indeed our capability to engage in international transactions, such as when credit card transactions are delayed, and also affects remittances, a significant financial element in many of our small economies.
CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque also addressed the subject, saying the EU's labeling of CARICOM member countries as non-compliant tax jurisdictions are, and I quote, encroaching on our sovereignty and reek of a bygone era, which came to an end with our political independence, unquote.
The onerous requirements being imposed are constantly shifting and go beyond those established by the OECD. Financial services provide significant revenue for many of our member states and therefore are an important source of domestic resources. The mobilization of domestic resources was recommended by the United Nations Addis Ababa Action Agenda as a major part of the finances needed to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Our member states are committed to accomplishing those goals, which would help us build resilience against our inherent vulnerabilities. But one may ask, is the aim of the EU to destroy the international financial services in our region? And if that is so, it would be a frontal attack on the economies of our affected member states. Ironically, a recent study by a tax specialist group pointed out that countries like ours, currently blacklisted by the EU, are responsible for just 1% of the financial services affecting EU member states.
Last week, the Honorable Alan Chastney, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, led a CARICOM delegation to engage the EU on the issue. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatalities. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Welcome back. It was an evening of pure mass and culture as everything Grenadian was on show during the Taste of Spice event organized by the Grenada Cultural Foundation and the Spice Mass Corporation. The cultural event was held as part of activities to market the Pure Grenada brand during the fourth one-day international series between England and West Indies. The carnage came alive on Wednesday with jab jab, shotney, Shakespeare and fancy mass, local cuisine, still pan music, and performances by local artists, all displayed for locals and foreigners. Here are some highlights.
In case this is your first time and you wonder what's coming across there right now, it's called jab jab. It's called jab jab. It's different from all different kind of matches you ever seen before. Yes! Yes! Hey! Hey! On everybody!
Tonight, la poetry tomorrow night. Ivoli 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 tonight, la poetry tomorrow night.
To Grenada, oh yes, they like it, the jam jam, yes, they like it, the spice mask. Whoa, yeah, whoa, Grenada today, they can't wait for us to go. They can't wait for us to go.
This one is song. You play your part and you still playing your part. Yes, I love you for me. Mommy, you yellow son, love your bad. Won't wait till you depart. He said this one from me. Say from a king to a queen. I say come let me reap the rewards of your labor. Go on, make a dream. I saw you are the queen of the kingdom.
That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, February 27th. Recapping the top story. Government fulfills promise to honor Devon Smith for his contribution to cricket. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Alrighty, folks, just about time to pull the curtains down, but let me pay a quick visit back here to Facebook. T.F. Richards, during that national report, said, "We have the politrick in even our reporting? What does the Prime Minister's return from CARICOM have to do with the news item?" I don't know. He also goes on to say, "I am appalled by the Prime Minister of St. Kitts asking this question about the monitoring of the financial business of the small islands, when, for example, the individual CBI programs have attracted a lot of criminals, and the records are there to show it." Margaret Francis says, "TF, as a former GIS employee from another era, those are exactly the stories you cover. GIS is government news, and that includes reporting ministers' trips abroad. What has changed is that GIS is now also being used as a political party mouthpiece." You notice that, eh, Mark? And finally, Peter Bishop says, "The man overshadows the Minister of Sport. Everything is about him." Okay, folks, time to go. Inspirational word, and the word this morning is not just for me, but for you as well. Psalm 23, verses 1 to 7. "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then will I be confident." See what I mean? Not just for me, pilgrims. You claim that as well. Okay? Psalm 23, verses 1 to 7. Now, on that note, Georgie Porgy is... Truth is, while the GIS was going on, I did, feed the face a little bit. So I can't sit here and tell you I'm going to feed my face right now. Pilgrims, thanks again for joining us. I do hope that you'll be able to make it tomorrow morning. Looking forward to seeing you. And in the meantime, God's blessings.